Welcome friends. We have been discussing about the various packaging materials which are used to protect the product shelf life along with maintenance of its the efficacy as well as not allowing the product to degrade. We have discussed about two materials, that is the glasses and the plastics, which are used for the packaging of various kinds of dosage forms. Today we will be looking into few more types of materials which are used in the packaging of the pharmaceutical dosage forms. So this current lecture will also help us look into various kinds of materials which are used for packaging, that is pharmaceutical packaging. Also it will help us distinguish between the various kinds of packages, to also help us to describe the properties and suitability of the common packaging materials. It can also help us recognize the protection which these packages are providing against oxidation, permeation, as well as how they are able to help the product reach to the patients in the most safe and viable form. So the metal is the next material which is used for packaging of the pharmaceutical products in the preparation of containers. So like glass, metal is totally impermeable to gas and water. In addition, metal containers are extremely strong and shatterproof. For applications requiring malleability such as collapsible tubes, metals offer relatively easy manufacturing and use. Metals can also be fashioned into more complex delivery systems like dry powder inhalers, metered dose inhalers, aerosol containers, and even ready to use needles. The disposable systems have a consistency of a soft paste, gel, cream or ointment type and can be conveniently packaged into collapsible metal tubes. Metals commonly used for such tubes are tin, plastic coated tin, tin coated lead, aluminium or steel. So the first is tin. The tin containers are preferred for food, pharmaceuticals or any product for which purity is of paramount consideration. Tin is frequently used in the production of aerosol cans by electroplating it onto sheet of steel to improve corrosion resistance and facilitate soldering. Tin is the most chemically inert of all collapsible tube metals. It offers great appearance and compatibility with wide range of products. Tin and tin coated tubes are usually employed because of their unreactive properties, although it has been reported that tin tubes can be corroded by chlorides or acids. Vinyl and cellulose lacquers are applied to the tin to increase usability. Aluminium foil, which is prepared from aluminium, is the next metal which can be used, and it can be formed into rigid containers, semi-rigid containers, blisters, as well as construction of laminates. The aluminium tubes offer significant savings in product shipping costs because of their lightweight. They provide the attractiveness of tin at somewhat cheaper cost. Coated and uncoated aluminium tubes are being used but are not always satisfactory. They have been reported to react with fatty alcohol emulsions to form white encrustations. Such tubes are also found to be unstable for mercury containing compounds. It has been found that uncoated aluminium tubes are deleteriously affected when used for preparations outside the pH range of 6.5 to 8. Lead has the lowest cost of all the metals and is widely used for non-food type of products such as adhesives, inks, paints and lubricants. Lead should never be used alone for anything taken internally because of the risk of lead poisoning. With internal linings, lead tubes are used for products like fluoride toothpaste. Linings, wax linings are most oftenly used with water-based products in tin tubes, and phenolics, epoxides and vinyls are used with aluminium tubes, giving better protection than wax but at a higher cost. Phenolics are the most effective with acid products. Epoxides protect better against the alkaline material. The disadvantage of metals relate to their cost and quality control. The metals are inherently more expensive to purchase and are prone to development of pinholes, that is the defects upon reaction with any component of the dosage form, and this can compromise the barrier properties of the material. Rubber is another type of packaging material which is used and is available in varying composition and can be used as stopper, cap liner or parts of dropper assemblies. A major use of rubber stopper is that of a closure for multi-dose vial solutions for injections. Natural rubber is resistant to dilute mineral acids, alkalis and salts, but oxidizing media, oils, benzenes and ketones attack it. Hard rubber made by adding 25% or more of sulfur to natural or synthetic rubber is frequently used for handling acids, especially dilute aqueous solutions. Synthetic rubbers can be of various types and they provide properties which are properties which are superior in comparison to natural rubbers, and they are more resistant to oxidation, solvents, oils and many chemicals. The presence of rubber closure extractives in the vial solutions could interfere with the chemical analysis of the active ingredient, affect the toxicity or pyrogenicity of the injectable preparation, interact with the drug or preservative to cause an activation of or loss of stability, cause physical destabilization of the preparation. Now, the various designs of packaging are also there. One of them is the collapsible tubes. The collapsible tube is an attractive container that permits controlled amounts to be dispensed easily and has a good reclosure and provides adequate protection of the product. The risk of contamination of the portion remaining in the tube is minimal because the dose does not suck back. The lightweight and unbreakable nature of the tube along with the high speed automated filling properties make them a very suitable choice. These tubes are perfect package for viscous products such as dentifrices, creams, ointments, gels and cosmetic creams. The metals, any ductile metal that can be worked cold is suitable for collapsible tubes. So, these are the materials with which the tubes can be made, for example, the metal can be used, plastic can be used. However, the requirement is that the metal should be ductile. Along with that, the most common ones that are used are tin, aluminium and lead. Since tin is the most ductile of the metals, small tubes are often made more cheaply of tin even though the metal cost is higher. Laminates of tin coated lead provide the appearance and oxidation resistance of straight tin in lower prices. The tin that is used for this purpose is alloyed with about 0.5% copper for stiffening. When lead is used, about 3% antimony is added to increase the hardness. The aluminium hardens when it is formed into tube and must be annealed to give it a necessary pliability. Plastic tubes are also there and have a number of inherently practical advantages over other containers or dispensers. That is, they are low in cost, light in weight, durable, pleasant to touch, flexible, facilitate product dispensing, they are odorless, inert to most chemicals and most importantly they are unbreakable. They are also leak proof, are able to retain their shape throughout their use, they have high machinability. In addition, they have a quick suck back feature which prevents the product ooze. If too much product is dispensed with one squeeze, relaxation of hand pressure permits the product to be sucked back into the tube. The side wall of the plastic tube is extruded under heat and pressure as continuous hose-like tubing and then it is cut to length. The neck and shoulders are then molded and joined to the tube in a separate automated process. The tube is then decorated mostly by offset printing. The tubes are capped with bottoms remaining open for filling, after which they are heat sealed to become as strong as any other part of the tube. The most common types of material currently employed in plastic tubes are low density polyethylene and high density polyethylene. The former is less expensive and more extensively used. The high density polyethylene offers better protection than the uncoated low density polyethylene tube. Coated high density polyethylene is only slightly more protective than the coated low density type, because in both instances the coating acts as the primary barrier. Laminations are used to overcome the permeation issues of plastic tubes and the corrosion and breakaging problem of the metal tubes. Laminated tubes have emerged as thus a reliable alternative. These laminated collapsible tubes offer enhanced barrier properties by combining multiple layers of materials, effectively protecting the contents from the environmental factors such as moisture, oxygen and light, while maintaining the structural integrity and flexibility. This lamination, which is specifically tailored to the product requirements, is welded into a continuous tube by heat sealing the edges of the lamination together in a machine called as side seamer. The tube is cut to length and the head, typically injection molded from low density polyethylene, is attached. To reduce permeation from the head, a urea formaldehyde insert can also be molded into it. Although not as impermeable as metal tubes, the laminated tube does provide a satisfactory level of protection for a number of products. The laminated tubes initially served the dentifrice market, but today are also used in pharmaceuticals, and creams, hair care products and denture adhesives. So, this is the structure of the laminate tube, starting from the inner surface, sealant layer, adhesive layer, sealant layer, adhesive layer, barrier layer, printing backup, print coat decoration and then the dust preventive layer. So, this is how a laminate tube looks like when they are being prepared. Closures. The closure is normally the most vulnerable and critical point of a container, so as to provide stability and compatibility of the product. Effective closure must prevent the contents from escaping and allow no substance to enter the container. The adequacy of the seal depends on a number of things such as resealancy of the liner and the flatness of the sealing surface on the container, and most importantly the tightness or torque with which it is applied. In evaluating an effective closure system, the considerations of the type of container, physical and chemical properties of the product and stability compatibility requirements for the given period under certain conditions are taken. The closures are available in 5 basic designs: screw on, threaded or lug, crimp on crowns, press on snap, roll on or friction types. These variations exist including vacuum, tamper-proof, safety, child resistance, linerless types and dispenser applications are included in these types of closures. The threaded screw cap: when the screw cap is applied, its threads engage with the corresponding threads molded on the neck of the bottle. A liner, generally a plastisol liner gasket in the cap pressed against the opening of container, seals the product in the container by overcoming the sealing surface irregularities and provides resistance to chemical and physical reaction with the product being sealed. The screw cap is commonly made of metal or plastics. The metal is tin plate or aluminium. Metal caps can be coated on the inside with enamel or lacquer. The metal crowns and closures are made from electrolytic tin plate or tin coated steel on which the tin is applied by the electrolytic deposition. A lug cap is similar to a threaded screw cap and operates on the same principle. It is simply interrupted thread on the glass finish instead of a continuous thread. There are only 3 liners instead of continuous liners as in the case of the threaded screw cap. It is used to engage a lug on the cap side wall and draw the cup down to the sealing surface of the container. Unlike the threaded closure, it requires only a quarter turn. The lug cap is used for both normal atmospheric pressure and vacuum pressure closing. The cap is widely used in the food industry because it offers hermetic sealing. The lug cap design allows application and removal with a quarter turn. It not only provides consumer convenience but also quick capping. Next are the crown caps. These are friction fitting closure types. This style of cap is used as a crimped closure for beverages and has remained unessentially changed for over a period of 50 years. It is made from tin-free steel and tin plate. It has a short skirt with 21 flutes that are crimped into locking position on the bottle head. The crowns also contain compressible lining material for effective closing. When the pilfer-proof closure is removed, the bridges break and the bank remains in place on the neck of the container. The user can reseal the closure, but the detached band indicates that the package has been opened. The torque necessary to break the bridges and remove the cap is nominal. Non-reusable roll-on closures. In some packaging applications, the reusable cap is not desired. Non-reusable caps require unthreaded glass finishes. The skirts of the closures are rolled under retaining rings on the glass container and maintain liner compression. The closures of this type have tear-off tabs and make them tamper-proof and pilfer-proof. Plastic closures. Two basic types of plastics used for closures are thermosetting and thermoplastic materials. They differ in physical and chemical properties and are fundamentally different in the manufacturing as well. Thermosetting resins like phenolic and urea thermosetting plastic resins are widely used in threaded closures. The thermosetting plastic first softens under heat and then cures and hardens to a final state. Shaping must occur in the first stage of softening, because after curing there is no mobility, and even upon reapplication of heat and pressure it does not change. During the molding process, the thermosetting materials undergo a permanent chemical change, and unlike thermoplastic materials, they cannot be reprocessed. The manufacturing process is slow but allows better control and quick response to change in temperature and material flow. Phenolic molding compounds are available in different grades and in dark colors, usually black or brown. Phenolics are used when a hard, sturdy piece is needed and when dark colors can be tolerated. Rigidity, heat, chemical resistance and strength are the properties of phenolics. Color limitation is their drawback, although coatings are available at a premium price. As a closure, the phenolics can withstand torquing forces of the capping machine and maintain tight seal over a long period of time. The phenolics are resistant to some dilute acids and alkalis and how attacked by the oxidizing acids. Urea, the thermosetting resin, is a hard translucent material that takes coloring well. It is more expensive than the phenolics, but the heat resistance and other properties of urea make it suitable for premium items. Elegant colors are obtainable with urea because the translucency gives bright and color depth. Urea plastic is available in an unlimited range of colors and is hard, brittle material that is odorless and tasteless. Being a thermosetting plastic, urea can withstand high temperatures without softening, but it chars at about 390 degree Fahrenheit. It absorbs water under wet conditions, but such absorption has no effect on the plastic. Urea is not affected by any organic solvent, however, it is affected by alkalis and strong acids. It has good resistance to all types of oils and greases. Thermoplastic resins. Since their introduction, thermoplastics have become widely used in the manufacturing of closures. Polystyrene, polyethylene, polypropylenes are the materials used in 90% of or more of all thermoplastic closures. Each material has specific performance advantages, and the particular resin used depends on the physical and chemical properties desired from the application. The closure liners are liners which may be defined as any material that is inserted into the cap to make a seal between the closure and the container. The liners are usually made of a resilient backing and a facing material. The backing material must be soft enough to take up any irregularities in the sealing surface and elastic enough to recover from its original shape when removed and replaced. It is usually glued into the cap with an adhesive, or the cap can be made with an undercut so that the liner snaps into the place and is free to rotate. So, the most important consideration is that the liner be chemically inert with the product, and the latter is protected against any possible changes in purity, potency. It should be compatible thus. has a good appearance. Gas and water vapor transmission rate must be determined. Removal torque, heat resistance, protection till the shelf life, and the cheapness of its use with respect to its cost involved should be considered. The gas vapor transmission rates are usually relative and depend chiefly on the shelf life required for the product. If the period between packing and consumer use is expected to be long, low transmission rates are must. Homogeneous liners, these are one-piece liners, are available either as a disc or a ring of rubber or plastic. Although they are more expensive and more complicated to apply, they are widely used for pharmaceuticals because their properties are uniform and can withstand high temperature sterilization. Heterogeneous or composite liners, these are composed of layers of different materials chosen for specific requirement. Generally, the composite liner consists of two parts, a face and a back. The face is in contact with the product and back provides the cushioning and sealing properties required. Stoppers, rubber is used in the pharmaceutical industry to make stoppers, cap liners and bulbs for dropper assemblies. The rubber stopper is used primarily for multiple dose vials and disposable syringes. The rubber polymers most commonly used are natural, neoprene and butyl rubber. In the manufacture of rubber closures, certain performance expectations are there. The typical ingredients of a rubber closure are rubber vulcanizing agent, accelerator or activator, extended filler, reinforced filler, softener, antioxidant, pigment, special components and waxes. The rubber stoppers are composed of the softeners, plasticizers, antioxidants, pigments, special components and waxes. Due to the complex composition and manufacturing process, issues can arise when they contact the parenteral solutions. The rubber may absorb active ingredients and preservatives or leach its own components into the solution. These extractives can interfere with the drug analysis, alter toxicity or cause pyrogenic reactions, inactivate preservatives, affect drug stability or leach particulate from the container. The tamper resistant packaging is becoming a talk of the packaging technology, especially with the tragic incident involving the Tylenol capsules being tampered with cyanide, which resulted in multiple deaths. This event highlighted the vulnerability of over-the-counter drug products to malicious adulteration and led to widespread public concern. In response, the local authorities proposed legislation and the Proprietary Association collaborated with FDA to establish national guidelines. These efforts were incorporated into the FDA regulations under 21 CFR parts 211, 314 and 700, significantly impacting the pharmaceutical packaging industry. The tamper resistant packaging is now a key consideration in the development of all drug packaging. According to FDA, a tamper resistant packaging is one that includes an indicator or a barrier to entry which clearly shows sign of tampering if the seal is broken or missing. Such packaging can involve immediate container, the outer carton or both. Furthermore, appropriate warnings, illustrations or statements must be included to inform consumers about the protective features. To enhance security, the FDA also mandates that either uncommon materials like aerosol systems be used or that commonly used materials carry unique, hard to replicate designs or logos to prevent resealing from tampering. The following packaging configurations have been identified by FDA as examples of packaging systems that are capable of meeting the requirements of tamper resistant packaging as defined by FDA regulations 21 CFR parts 211, 314 and 700. Film wrappers. Film wrapping has been used extensively over the years for products requiring package integrity or environmental protection. It can be generally categorized into following types: N-folded wrapper, fin seal wrapper or shrink wrapper. So, various types of tamper resistant packagings have been mentioned in figure 9. The N-fold wrapper is formed by pushing the product into a sheet of overwrapping film, which forms the film around the product and folds the edges in a gift wrap fashion. The folded areas are sealed by pressing against a heated bar. Because of the overlapping folding sequence of the seals of the film used, must be heat sealable on both the surfaces. Materials commonly used for the application are cellophane or polypropylene. Cellophane, which is regenerated cellulose, is not inherently heat sealable but requires a heat seal coating to impart heat sealing characteristics to the film. This is usually accomplished by coating the cellophane with either polyvinylidene chloride or nitrocellulose. Machine modifications and the redesign of equipment led to the gradual replacement of cellophane by polypropylene, so that polypropylene now dominates the market for its application. Heat sealing characteristics are imparted to polypropylene by the use of heat sealable acrylic coatings or by the addition of heat sealable modifiers to the resin itself. To be tamper resistant, the overwrap must be well sealed and must be printed or uniquely decorated to exclude possibility of having an alternate overwrap substituted in its place. Fin seal wrapper, unlike the N-folded wrapper configuration, does not require the product to act as a bearing surface against which the overwrap is sealed. The seals are formed by crimping the film together and sealing together the two inside surfaces of the film, forming a fin seal, that is, it looks like a fin. Since the seals are formed by compressing the material between two heated bars, much greater and more consistent sealing pressure can be applied and consequently better seal integrity can be accomplished. Shrink wrapper films overwrapping can also be accomplished with the use of shrink wrapper. The shrink wrap concept involves packaging of a product in a thermoplastic film that has been stretched and oriented during manufacturing, and that has the property of reverting back to its unstretched dimension once the molecular structure is unfrozen by the application of heat. These materials commonly used for the application are heat shrinkable grades of polypropylene, polyethylene and PVC. So, the various film wrapper systems are there, A, B and C. End sealer is there, then there is longitudinal sealing, rollers are there, and L-shaped sealing is there. Fin seal wrapper and shrink wrapper are been showed in figure 12. The major advantage of this type of wrapper are the flexibility and low cost of packaging. Shrink wrap is commonly used as an overwrap in packaging. Folded film rolls forms a pocket into which the product is inserted, and L-shaped sealer untrims the film, and the package is then passed through the heat tunnel that shrinks the film tightly around the product. Then blister package. This mode has been used for pharmaceutical packaging for its own good reasons. It is a packaging configuration capable of providing excellent environmental protection coupled with aesthetically pleasing and efficacious appearance. It provides user-friendly applications in terms of convenience, child resistance and tamper resistance. The blister package is formed by heat softening a sheet of thermoplastic resin and vacuum drawing the softened sheet of plastic into a contoured mold. After cooling, the sheet is released from the mold and proceeds to the filling station of the packaging machine. The semi-rigid blister previously formed is filled with product and lidded with a heat sealable backing material. The backing material or lidding can be of either a push-through or peelable type. For a push-through type of blister, the backing material is usually heat seal coated aluminum foil. The coating of the foil must be compatible with the blister material to ensure satisfactory sealing both for the product protection and the tamper resistance. Peelable backing materials have been used to meet the requirements of child resistant packaging. This type of backing must have a degree of puncture resistance to protect the child from pushing the product through the lidding. To accomplish this, a material such as polyester or paper is used as a component of the backing lamination. Materials commonly used for the thermoformable blisters are PVC or a combination of PVC and polyethylene, polystyrene or polypropylene. For added moisture protection, polyvinylidene chloride or polychloro-trifluoroethylene films may be laminated to PVC. The moisture barrier of PVC acrylic is superior to that of saran coated PVC, especially under prolonged and extremely humid climatic conditions. So, the barrier protection properties of laminates and the properties of flexible films have been mentioned in table 1 and 2. Thus, to conclude, the visual inspection and advanced testing methods like dyed penetration, bubble leak tests are critical for assessing sealing and packaging integrity, especially for sterile pharmaceutical products. Compliance with regulatory guidelines and quality assurance protocols in pharmaceutical packaging is essential to meet the global safety standards and ensure safety of the patients. Innovations in packaging materials and technology such as tamper-evident systems and smart packagings are transforming the way pharmaceuticals are preserved and delivered. This is very important to maintain the safety, efficacy as well as the shelf life of the product. So, thank you very much for your patient hearing, and I hope you would also apply this knowledge when you are yourself using the pharmaceutical products in the house, or you are observing any tamper, breaking or pilferage of the products. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.